Thank you so much for joining us tonight. I'm going to start in a couple of minutes. While we are waiting, Andrea has taught me this. Where is everyone from while we are waiting? We like to know where you are located, so feel free to shout it out, put it in the chat.
Oh, New York City, thank you. Finally somebody. I'm in Brooklyn, Tamara, so we should meet up.
Like, holla at your girl.
Right.
Let's see, Virginia Beach, North Carolina, Houston. What is that? I don't know what.
Next.
Oh, she said she's in the Bronx.
That's fine.
The boogie down Bronx. I don't even know, do people say that anymore?
Yeah.
Okay. Let's see.
Okay,
yes,
good.
Thank you again so much for joining us for the clinical team manager. Oh, Hollywood, Florida. We will give, since we started a little late, we'll give a couple of people a little bit more minutes to join. We had over 150 people that registered for this event. So we always like when people sign up, especially when it's over 100. That makes our heart smile, and that we know that we're actually presenting topics that people are interested in. And so if you ever have a clinical research topic that you want us to discuss, please always feel free to make a suggestion, because we want to make sure that the information is relevant and that it's useful to you and that it's information that you can use. Just making sure. Okay. Let me see what time it is. Okay, we are going to go ahead and get started. Thank you again, everyone, for joining. My name is Danielle Mitchell. I am the CEO and founder of Black Women in Clinical Research. The mission is to educate, empower, support, and help Black women, Black men, and minorities thrive in the clinical research industry. Today, we are going to be talking about clinical team manager with my co-host, Andrea. Andrea, would you like to introduce yourself?
Hey everyone, I am Andrea Thomas. I currently work as a pediatric oncology project manager in New York City. I've been in the industry since 2011 on the site side. So I'm happy to be here with you guys tonight to help interview Lakita and Kimora.
Thank you so much, Andrea. Kimora, would you like to introduce yourself, please?
Sure. My name is Kimora Wilson. I live in New Orleans, Louisiana. Been in clinical research about 13 years or so, and I'm currently a CTM at PPD.
Thank you, Kimora. Lakita, would you like to introduce yourself, please?
Sure. Hello, everyone. I'm Lakita Hawkins. I have been in the clinical research arena for about 10 years, and I am currently a CTM at one of the large CROs here in the RTP, North Carolina.
Well, thank you so much, ladies, for joining us tonight. We are going to be diving in, talking about clinical team manager. So we're going to start off with, what is a clinical team manager? And can you describe your typical workday? Kimora?
Sure. Okay, so I looked up a couple of definitions, like job responsibilities, because I know what I do, but I also wanted to see what the job description said. But for the most part, I manage a protocol, or I manage protocols, and I oversee the CRAs who work on the protocols, and basically just make sure everything regarding specific studies are run smoothly. As far as day to day, was that a part of the questions?
Yes, what's your typical workday?
Day-to-day things, for the most part, on a day-to-day basis, we do run a lot of reports and review reports. We reach out to the CRAs and the different sites regarding the different reports, just to make sure that everything is going as smooth as possible or per the protocol. And we do have a lot of meetings on a day-to-day basis. And one of the big things we do is problem solving. Like every day, all day, the CRAs and the sites come to us with their different problems and different issues, and they escalate them to us. So we have to be able to solve those problems.
Thank you, Kamora. Lakita.
Sure, I agree with what Kamara said. The name CTM is actually versed across different companies differently. Some companies do different duties and tasks. So for me, a CTM, we're actually, holding everyone accountable on the study for achieving the final clinical delivery, and then managing all the clinops and quality aspects of the study, right? So as a CTM, we're actually combining the deep knowledge and therapeutic experience and various tools to help the clients deliver therapies to market. And so for me, a day-to-day in the life of the CTM at the larger CRO, we basically manage deadlines, as Kamara stated. We handle escalations. We actually have to motivate our teams, which is our CRAs and in-house staff. We also delegate tasks. We mentor staff. We solve problems. We manage conflicts. And so a day for me begins with email. So I log on basically looking at my actual email. If there's something urgent or immediate that needs to be resolved, I'll go ahead and, deal with that right away. Prepare for any meetings that we may have, reach out to any CRAs for updates on sites, send the emails to them individually. Like Kamora alluded to, we're running reports and confirming any project-specific deadlines with our sites, and basically compiling everything together and, presenting it to the sponsor and making sure that they're up to speed. So on any given day, it's not going to go as planned. We may have to plan, unplan, address, prioritize, and do things of that nature day to day.
Okay, thank you. So it sounds like you guys have to put on your problem-solving hat and a lot of meetings. I know that can be a lot, especially with trying to do your normal tasks and having your meetings. So I'm just curious, because you guys say you have a lot of meetings. What to you is considered a lot of meetings?
An average day, maybe like 5 meetings. And usually my mornings start off with meetings. So at least 4 to 5 meetings per day. Sometimes you get more than that. Sometimes people put some on your calendar during the day for later in the day. So I say about 4 to 5 per day on average.
I agree with that.
Okay, so it sounds like you have to be able to juggle a lot of different things with being a CTM. So what is the pathway to becoming a CTM?
I think everyone's pathway is going to be different. It heavily depends on what therapeutic area or functions you're involved in. We actually sit more on the project management study side or study management. And so for me, my career began back in 2012, almost 10 years ago, as a ClinOps in-house CRA. And so I did that for about 3 years, and I transitioned to a traveling CRA role. And I remained in that role for about 5 years. And then I moved into the CTM role. So I think it depends on the person's background and how they matriculate through the ranks and what groups they're involved in, whatever companies they worked at, and those paths could be different.
So yeah, I'm sorry. Did you?
No, go ahead.
I agree with Lakita wholeheartedly that everybody's path is different. And I think we talked about that a lot in our different trainings, that everybody's path to different roles is different. I actually started in-house as well, and I was in study startup for a few years. And then I became an in-house CRA, then a CRA, then a CTM. But I know people that became a CTM and they were never a CRA. So it just really depends, like Lakita said.
So with that, do you feel that being a CRA, I would say, makes you more successful? Does that role help you to be a successful CTM, or does it just all depend on the person? Or like in your experience, do you feel like being in that CRA role has helped you in your current CTM role?
I believe that CRA is necessary to be a successful CTM as you're managing CRAs and in-house staff. But I have seen other CTMs without the CRA experience. They manage a role and become very successful in their previous role where they were CTCs or study coordinators. So while clinical and monitoring is a part of the role, I think CTMs are also cognizant of other different areas. So I think being a CRA does help you be well-versed in the CTM role. It kind of helps you think above the CRA role. So if you have that experience, you're able to think a little bit above that. So if you don't have the experience of being a CRA extensive as we have, at least knowing about the role and actually what they do or what CRAs do will actually help you in that role.
I think it would make it harder to relate to the CRAs if and to understand what they're going through and, any issues that they may face if you've never been a CRA. Kimora, did you want to add to that?
Yeah, I agree. It makes them more relatable, and then to the issues that they have, and then also, when they're kind of trying to get over on certain things as well, because you've been in that position. I just wanted to say that any role within clinical research kind of helps with any other role that you get. I started at a site years and years ago. So because I started at a site, I kind of empathize sometimes when it comes to working with sites and what they have to go through. So any role that you have, I feel like it brings something to the current role that you're in. But I agree with Lakita. If you're a CRA, then you probably know a lot more what the CTM role is going to be about, because it's just working on the other side as the manager of those CRAs for the most part. There are a lot of other things, but yeah, that's it for the most part.
Okay, so that just really shows that being involved in a lot of different clinical research role, it helps and it builds you up in your positions as your career and your roles increases. So I know a lot of times, especially with members, they say, oh, that's not part of my job responsibility, or I'm not going to do that. But a lot of times, if you take on those extra roles and responsibility, it helps you in your future roles. So I think that's definitely important. So with that, how many studies do you typically manage, and how many direct reports do you have?
So for me, currently, I only have one study, but it can vary from company to company. You may have one or two studies that could be sister studies. And then regarding your second question, we do not have direct reports, but we have indirect reports per se, people that we kind of oversee on the study. And I have about 10 on-site CRAs and 6 remote CRAs.
Yeah, I currently have 2 studies, but one of the studies is a phase 1 study, so it doesn't take all of my time. But then I also have a phase 2-3 study, which takes a lot more of my time. So from my experience, 2 studies. What I see other CTMs at my company, they usually have like 1 study. And regarding direct reports, I agree with Lakita, but I know when I was at another CRO, there was a CTL, which they called them clinical team leads or clinical trial leads there. She had about 7 or 8 direct reports, but we have it split up into regions or site loads. So I have sites assigned to me. So maybe about 25, 26 sites, and whoever oversees or is assigned to those sites, they report to me.
So is that typical? Is that a typical number to have 1 or 2? Is that kind of, I would say, a good workload?
I think it depends on the study.
Okay.
I think it depends on the study. Like Kimora stated, if you're going to have a phase 1 study, it's going to be pretty busy. So I would think it depends on the phase. And, if you're doing an international study or a global study, that factors in as well regarding, what's actually feasible for one person. And I think as you go up the ranks in the CTM role, you will take on more studies and bigger studies So it just depends.
So how do you manage your remote work?
I can take this one also from the beginning. For me, managing my workload, I have to stay organized. And so in order to stay organized, I actually utilize OneNote, actually time block. I use Microsoft Outlook. I make sure everything goes on my calendar to make sure I'm staying organized where I need to be, what time I need to be there, what time I need to log on to the virtual meeting. So I began my day prioritizing. I work off of a list. I keep myself organized that way. I normally write everything down. If I need to replan something or plan something, I work off that particular list. And it's inside of my OneNote where I can access it anywhere as a remote worker. So that's kind of how I stay organized. Those are my 3 components that I have to keep with me daily to manage my workload.
What about you, Kamara?
Same for the most part. I use OneNote a lot when I have these meetings where there's a lot of training and I'm learning a lot. So I use OneNote for those. But like Lakita said, I use Outlook. I put almost everything on my Outlook calendar, and I'm a list person. So every morning I'll probably start off with a long list of things that I need to do. But throughout the day, those things change and the priorities change. I may add things to the list, but I'm a list person and I like to check off things throughout the day that need to be done. So yeah, OneNote, Outlook. I try to review all my emails for a day during that day. We get a lot of emails throughout the day. So that's a big task to review all of them, but I don't want to start the next day having emails from the day before if possible, but we work globally. So sometimes people work at night and they're emailing you at night, so you can't really avoid it. But I try to go through as many emails as possible throughout the day. So the next day I won't have to review those, or I won't be behind on email. So it's a lot of just prioritizing and organizing.
OneNote is my best friend. I didn't know about OneNote until I started working at the CRO. I'm like, nobody told me this. I could have been using OneNote a long time ago, but it is such a great tool to use. I like sending from my OneNote an email to myself, or if I send out an email, I'll send it to my OneNote, and saving a lot of times, because you send out so many emails, and just, I guess I would organize mine. So I would organize mine by the site, and that helped me staying organized. But it is a lot. You receive a lot of emails, and I'm sure you guys receive a lot of emails as well. But just having that to stay organized and knowing which tasks you need to complete or which tasks you have already completed. So yes, organization is super important.
Can I say something? I just remembered. I know as a CRA, a lot of times we do this, but also as a CTM, you would probably make folders for each site that you have to that you're assigned to. And then I make a lot of folders as far as like the files that I get. I make a lot of folders just to make sure that if a topic comes up some months from now, that I can look at that folder and try to see if there's information that I received prior. So yeah, organizing things by site and just by name is a big thing as well, because it's
Absolutely.
easy to drown in emails and documents.
Yes, I agree. You can definitely get buried in them. I think there's quite a few times I got buried, and I'm like, what am I doing here? What am I supposed to be focusing on? Okay. So what other clinical research roles do you work closely with?
We work closely with CRAs. They're our direct reports, or our reports for the most part. And then right above us, usually you have a project manager or associate project manager or a project lead. So those are like the 3 roles within the study. And then we also, for the studies that I'm on, or in the company that I'm with, we have remote CRAs as well that we work with on a regular basis, and just different in-house admin people who help on the study, and that can vary depending on what company you're with as far as what their names are. So we work a lot with, CRAs, project manager, project leads. We do work with a sponsor. We actually have a lot of sponsor meetings, but as far as the CRO roles, those are the main ones.
Yes, I agree with Kamara. It's about the stakeholders that we work with on the client side and internally. As she stated, other CTMs, CRAs, PMs, data management, safety, study startup. Sometimes we're working with the medical monitors. than other functional leads.
So being able to work as a team, since you're working with so many different people and I'm sure so many different backgrounds, and if you're on a global study, people are, like you said, from all over. So I guess it's definitely important to have teamwork skills.
You have different accents. Sometimes you can't understand people's accents.
You're like, what'd you say again? Hold on. Repeat that for me. Okay.
Learning how to work cross-functionally is, I think, one of the most important things that we'll have to know how to do in clinical research or as clinical research professionals. So often, as a clinical research professional, we're always questioning as we move up the ladder if we need any advanced degree. So should we go back to school for our master's? Is this valued? Will this help me move into that next position? So would you say an advanced degree is valued and helped you in your current role?
I think most of us have advanced degrees, but I think I can speak for most of us, it's not required. Again, everyone will not fit the same mold, right? As we're in this industry where experience is everything. And so certain certifications may not be required. It's just, you just want to look at the actual job description and make sure you're checking those particular boxes. So if it's saying that it's required that you need to have a bachelor's degree or a master's degree, that is required, and of course it is. For our particular role, I think they prefer you to have a bachelor's degree or comparable to 5 years, especially being a CRA as well. So I don't think necessarily advanced degree is required.
Yeah, I agree. Both Lakita and I have master's degrees, but I know that it wasn't necessary for this particular job. I looked at a couple of different job descriptions for CTM roles yesterday, and I saw that bachelor's was usually required, and also experience was usually required. Just experience within the clinical research industry. Some of them wanted management experience, but yeah, a master's is not necessary, but I am glad that I got it because I feel like I got some management experience or management training when I went to grad school, but it's definitely not required.
Okay, so piggybacking, oh, sorry, this one wanted to add.
Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, so piggybacking off of that question, would you say any soft skills or hard skills in terms of, some courses that you can take, like Excel, advanced Excel, negotiation courses, do you think that would be helpful in this role?
I think those are definitely helpful. Also, being able to have conversations, being able to have the critical conversations with your staff, being able to talk to the client, being able to speak to the client, because in the CTM role, you are client facing. So you want to be able to speak and have those skills.
Yeah, I agree. And then also you mentioned Excel. Definitely Excel would be great because we do pull a lot of reports and export them into Excel. And then also I was thinking, I know Lakita was mentioning communication skills and knowing how to speak, but we also do a lot of presentations. So if there are any like Toastmasters and things like that, those are actually really helpful because we do like SIV training. Sometimes we do SIV training, but for the most part, the CRA does that. But maybe investigator meetings, you'll have to speak, and different meetings when it comes to the sponsors. So I think presentation skills are pretty important as well.
I agree. And then also, if I can add any business acumen classes, also maybe a little bit of financial classes. In CTM role, you're going to actually oversee some of the finances for the study. So that may help as well.
Oh, awesome. That's good to know. Everyone, you should be taking notes. Advanced Excel classes, some negotiation classes, financial or any finance budget management courses will be helpful in this role. So everyone has their individual challenges in their own roles. What would you say is the most challenging about your role as a CTM? Lakita?
I would say that every clinical trial comes with its own challenges. And even the most experienced CTMs have challenges. But I don't want to look at them as challenges. I want to say they're simply rewards in disguise. They often lead to expansion of knowledge. So I think that clinical research is constantly evolving, and it allows us to learn something new every day, right? So one of my personal challenges I have been to know is that I don't know when to actually shut down and shut my day off. Clinical research is not going to stop, right? It's going to go on and on and on. So for me, I'll be in here for 12, 14 hours. And so it's just being able to cut it off and have that work-life balance, and have a life outside of clinical research.
How about you, Kumar?
Could you repeat the question, please?
Yeah, so what would you say the biggest challenge is for you as a CTM?
Okay, yeah, some of the things Lakita said are definitely challenges for me as well, like just not working all day. Usually, I'll work throughout the day, I'll go to the gym, and then I'll come back and work. But if I don't work at nighttime, I can't make myself feel guilty for not working. So, as far as my biggest challenges, I think delegating is one of my biggest challenges. Because I was a CRA, I tend to want to do some of the CRA work when now I'm the CTM, so I'm supposed to delegate it to them. My phase 1 study in particular, I only have 3 sites and we have 1 CRA. So if she's not moving quick enough, I tend to want to jump in and do it for her and, get the information because I want to get it for the sponsor. So delegating is something I definitely need to work on. And another challenge for me was, again, with my phase 1 study, it's a smaller study and I was there from the beginning. So I had to create a lot of plans and a lot of trainings. And that was something that I wasn't accustomed to doing as a CRA. So that was a challenge for me, and delegating has been a challenge for me.
Understood. I think it is hard when you are moving into a higher level position, but you still have that knowledge from the previous ones, and then you're overseeing those people. You will want to help. Like, it's hard to remove or separate yourself from that CRA role when you're a CTM now. So I understand that completely. So forward thinking, what are some future career goals for each of you after CTM?
I'm actually exploring that. I think that the sphere is very wide in clinical research. It's very broad. And so I'm still exploring what would be the next good fit for me, whether that's exploring in the CTM ranks or moving over to a manager of ClinOps, or, I'm still trying to decide that, but definitely staying within the clinical division.
Okay.
So I know for sure I want to go up. Somewhere further up. So I don't know if I want to be a project lead or project manager, because that's still kind of like protocol facing. But like Lakita mentioned, I wouldn't mind being a line manager or a comm, as we call it. I wouldn't mind managing people versus managing the study. So that may be something I would try. And also I'm interested in training as well. So if there are any opportunities that I see open where I can train more, I would love to do that, because I like training the CRAs that come in on how to be a CRA.
Oh, that would be great. I mean, I think everyone coming in will need some sort of mentorship. So as we say, send the elevator back down and help your fellow people up. So that's great. So last question, what advice do you have for someone who is interested in becoming a CTM? Lakita?
I would say definitely find a mentor at your current company. Someone that has that current title or someone that had a former title. Shadow someone in the role if you can. Look at the job description and see what skills you can expound on, or what can help you expound your skill base, and then grow your skills in that particular role. And take any trainings that you can take, or any trainings that your manager allows you to take within your company. Also, any classes outside, as we spoke of before. I think that'll help with whatever's in your normal scope. Yeah, and if you can, just try to support someone in that CTM role. I think that's the most important thing. So you can actually get your feet wet in that role. Sometimes you actually think this is something that you're interested in. Once you get that experience, it may be something that you really don't like. So just getting that experience as much as you can.
Yeah, that makes sense. How about you, Kumar? Any advice for people interested in this career?
I would say give yourself grace and give yourself time to learn the role. I know when I started last year, it was a big learning curve. So it would be a big learning curve for anybody who hasn't been a CTM before. So just give yourself grace, give yourself time to learn. You're always learning, you're always growing. And as with any job role within clinical research, I would say find resources, find people who can help you. And then once you have enough knowledge, find people that you can help. So definitely find resources and try to what's the word? Attach to as many people who have done the role as possible.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Thank you, ladies.
And just the networking also, if I can add, just networking. I think, having someone in your corner, building those relationships, that could actually take you further than, something you can Google and look up online. So.
Very, very true. Thank you, ladies. Danielle, back to you.
So I got a question because Lakita, you kind of sparked this question. So a lot of times people don't know how to network. I've seen this before. So what suggestion do you have for people who are not necessarily comfortable with networking? I know Virginia Nato, she made an article or created an article on LinkedIn today talking about, because we have been at home and we haven't been face-to-face networking, a lot of people don't know how to do it. So how do you have any advice for people where networking is not their go-to, or that's not their norm? How do you kind of start to network?
I think for me, I would say you want to introduce yourself. You can just say, hi, my name is XYZ. How are you doing? Just starting a genuine conversation. It doesn't have to be, letting them know right away you want to get into clinical research or you want to know more about their job. You want to have a genuine relationship, building it genuinely and just starting off that way, not rushing it or putting anyone in a difficult position. You just want to start off in a friendly way, introducing yourself. Be on LinkedIn, Black Women in Clinical Research group. I think that's a good way to connect with people. Sending them a message privately, you can kind of hide behind that a little bit. It's not anything face to face. So I say just starting off with an email with someone in your company or joining some type of networking group within your company, or joining one online. I think Kamora mentioned maybe Toastmasters or, something like that. Just building a relationship with someone genuinely that shares the same interests as yourself and just sparking up a conversation with them, just like you would in the grocery store. And then getting to know them that way and then building upon that. I think that's the best way to start if you're not the one to just jump in and just, start talking on LinkedIn or Facebook.
Yeah. Can I add? I'm naturally an introvert. So when I was thinking about being a CRA, I was very nervous and very scared. So I could understand that you have some people who are really shy. But on the other side, you have to network in this industry to grow, to get where you want to go, maybe go to different companies to get the advice you need. So like Lakita said, joining organizations like Black Women in Clinical Research is great. I've actually had people reach out to me on LinkedIn. So I think that's a great start. Like Lakita said, you can send them an inbox, and if they don't respond, then, no foul, no loss, because you never knew them anyway. And when I'm at different companies or going, working on different studies, if it's new to me, I'll just ping somebody and I'll just ask them a question, and usually people are really open to helping you. You probably have more people who are wanting to help you than not. And if they're busy, they'll say they're busy. But yeah, a lot of times I just ping people who are on my study, if I see their name, and just say hi and ask them a question, see if they can help you. And that's how I start a lot of my relationships or what's the word? Friendships within the industry.
Thank you. So would you say that the CTM role is a role that's good for someone who's an introvert?
It depends on what level of introvert you are. Like, I'm an introvert, but I know how to communicate when I need to and how I need to. The good thing about being a CTM is that you don't have to go to different sites. So you're not traveling and you're not meeting with people face to face. So that's a good part because you're working from home. Most, if not all CTM or CTL roles, you work from home. So that's a good thing for an introvert. But if you aren't good with dealing with conflict as an introvert, then it's definitely not the role for you, because that's something that we do on a regular basis. And I'll have to reach out and talk to sites and call sites and have meetings with sites and meetings with sponsors. So it depends on the type of introvert you are. If you're an introvert, but you're okay with maybe challenging yourself and getting out of the box a little bit, then it's a good role. But if those things are scary to someone, then they shouldn't take the CTM role.
Okay, so stepping outside of your comfort zone. Okay.
Yeah, I was thinking with all the meetings you guys have and maybe having to facilitate meetings such as what the project managers do, then maybe people will be a bit nervous and, you know, as an introvert or may not be able to or won't feel comfortable doing that. But yeah, it depends on what level. You're right. Yeah.
Yeah, and if I could add, I know particularly for Kimora and I's company, for the most part being virtual, you don't always have to be on camera. So even if you're a little nervous, maybe you can kind of hide behind that a little bit so you don't show your nervousness. So, you know, that may be something that you can think about as well. Again, that's not at every company and it's maybe not at every meeting, but you know, if you're looking to get into the role, that is something that you can think about doing until you're comfortable enough to come off camera. Come on camera, excuse me.
So I'm a little bit of both. I'm an introvert and I'm an extrovert, even though people probably don't think that I am an introvert, but I do have my times where I'm like, okay, I've seen enough people now. I need to go be like by myself. Like, what was it? This past week, I went to a summit and it just got to the point where I was like, okay, I am peopled out. I just disappeared.
I'm just like that, Danielle. I'm just like that. So they call that an ambivert. So I know how to turn it on when I need to, but at a certain point, I need to go home and recharge and just be alone. Go to my hotel, recharge, be alone. So yeah. So if somebody can juggle doing, you know, being both, then it's fine. But if they're an introvert and they just can't get out of that and communicate with people on a regular basis, then it may not be the role for them.
Right.
Yeah, for me personally, I think I don't like being on camera. I don't like being face to face per se, but I can talk someone's head off all day long. Like I'll literally talk all day, you know, that's just one of those things that I like doing. So.
Yeah, for me, after a certain amount of time, I'm completely depleted and I'm like, no more people. But that's how it is for me. So, okay. Thank you so much, ladies, for this discussion. We have a couple of questions in the chat, and this is a good opportunity for you to raise your hand so that you can ask questions. Please don't be shy. Now is the time. If you're interested in a CTM role, you definitely want to raise your hand and talk to the ladies. And yes, you can ask your question. You can take yourself off of mute.
There is a question from Ellen in the chat, and I think this will be great for Kimora since you said you came from the site side. She asked, how do you all suggest branching out when you are looking to expand to the industry or CTO, maybe CRO side, especially coming from the site side? Essentially, how do you break in from the site side?
Yeah, it kind of depends on what you're doing at the site side. I know that a lot of study coordinators or CRCs, there are a lot of different bridge programs at different companies to where they'll hire a CRC as an entry-level CRA or a CRA1. So that's really a nice program if the company has that. As far as myself, I was like the regulatory contact at the site when I was there, and I started off with an entry-level role as a startup specialist, startup associate actually. So I would say any entry-level role, but if you can find a company that has some type of program to where they do CRC to CRA, or if you can find an entry-level CRA job and they only require you to have CRC experience, then that's great as well. But entry-level role or maybe an entry-level CRA position.
Thank you.
Great. And also, I just want to make it clear that a CTM position is not an entry-level position, just in case people are confused. But someone did ask in the chat, how many years are they looking for you to be qualified to be a CTM? Either Lakita or Kimora can answer.
I just have a follow-up to that. Is it years of clinical research experience or years of CRA experience that they're asking?
They just said how many levels of experience. I'm assuming how many years of experience are companies looking for you to transition
Yes.
into CPM?
Sorry, that was my question.
Okay.
Yes, if you can go over both, because I've noticed, like you said, some people do like the bridge program, and they'll only be a CRC for like a year or 2 years, and then go straight into CRA. Then I've also seen companies where they expect a CRC to have like 8 years of experience in like, the higher level therapeutic areas to then transition into a CRA role. So I just kind of want to see what you guys have maybe seen or heard in your company of the type of levels of experience you need.
So each company varies. I think you would need to have at least 5 years of experience. You would definitely need to know the different areas of clinical research, or at least the different stakeholders, to know how to navigate in clinical research. And it also depends on your background as well, or what experience you have. So all of that varies, and in that particular decision.
Yeah, I agree. About 5 years of CRA experience or clinical research experience. When I was looking at the different jobs yesterday, some of them wanted management experience, some just wanted clinical research experience, some wanted you to have been a CRA previously. So it really does vary on the company.
Thank you.
Does that answer your question? I'm sorry, Kayla?
Yes, it does.
So we have another question. Paula asks, what roles will be more suitable for introverts?
Data management for sure. I just remember when I was at a company and I was working in-house, we had a lot of introverts in the data management department, because you deal with just data all day and you're on a computer. That's the only thing I can think of off the top of my head. Lakita, you have any suggestions?
No, I think that's right. I agree with that.
Or maybe like in-house admin positions. For us, we have clinical trial coordinators, or CTCs, and they're different in-house admin roles at different companies.
Some people are dropping some in the chat. They said data, IT, biostats. Yep. Someone else, Rosalind, she asks, are there any bridge programs for CTM like they have for CRAs?
I haven't seen any bridge programs per se. I know some companies they'll pair you with someone as a mentor, but I haven't seen any bridge programs for CTM or CTL per se.
I have not either.
Okay.
Angela asks, what certifications outside of work continuing education do you maintain?
Do we particularly maintain ourselves? I actually do not have any certifications that I maintain outside of ones that do not relate to my job technically. So I think we're always growing, taking different trainings internally in our job to advance in our role or keep up the skill set.
Yeah, I don't have any outside certifications. Basically, my experience kind of speaks for itself whenever I'm trying to get a job or a new role at a different company. It's the fact that I've been in the industry and I've done various roles is basically enough. I think certifications are good when you're starting off. It's good all around, but when you're starting off, it may give you a leg up because they know that you've had the training in this area. But I feel like I've learned enough within the industry to where I haven't gotten any outside certifications.
Okay. Thank you, ladies. Are there any more questions? Is anyone? Oh, I've got a question from Nikki. What's the difference between CRA versus CTA? Also, CRA is a clinical research assistant, correct? Which career map will lead me to CTM the best?
So the difference between a CRA and a CTA is that, and I want to go ahead and answer the second part of your question. The CRA is actually considered the clinical research associate. An assistant would be someone that actually assists the CRA. The CRA is the one that basically travels to the site And then the CTA is more of it depends upon each company, but it's more of an internal role or in-house CRA role, if you will. And then I don't remember the second part of the question. I think she said what leads her to the CTM role.
Yes.
Each person is different. Some people take different paths. For myself, I actually started out as an in-house CRA, and then I went on to a traveling CRA and then a CTM. So to answer that person's question, everyone's path will be different. You just want to figure out which path is best for you. And you want to start at where your niche is. You want to find out where your niche is and then figure out what's best for you and how you can navigate. I don't know if Kamora has any more she wants to add to that.
I agree 100% with everything you said.
Hopefully, I don't know if you would like for me to expound on more of CRA versus CTA, but that is more the basis of the experience. Clinical research associate and clinical trials associate, more of in-house versus traveling, and then assistant actually assists the CRA.
And always too, like especially with these positions, feel free to go to the CRO and look up in the career section for these different roles to see the difference between them. Because a lot of times they have the full description there, so you can really get an idea. And if you want to, you can talk to people who are a CRA, who are a CTA to get more information if you're interested in their responsibilities. We have a question.
Say something real quick. So yeah, like you said, roles are named different at different companies. So I would definitely reach out if you have something that you think, if there's something you have in mind, reach out to different people who work at that company within BWICR to just maybe get a better understanding of what that particular job role is, because it's definitely different at every company what the names are.
Yes. And we also have YouTube videos. We've talked to Kamora actually was on our CRA video that we did. I think that was in 2021. But yes, to go, I can't remember. We've done so many so far. But yes, go on the YouTube channel. And we also did a CTC, which is similar to like a CTA at the CRO. Sorry, all these acronyms. But a clinical trial assistant and a clinical trial coordinator at the CRO have the same, like similar positions. So you can go on our YouTube channel and check that out. Melissa has a question as well. She says, hi, my name is Melissa Davis, and I currently work at a manufacturing pharmaceutical company. I currently support quality assurance, overseeing the raw materials. Sorry, I think it's this question thing. Oh my goodness. The raw material. Sorry, Andrea, help me out, girl. Okay, when I'm scrolling down, it's going, okay, I see it now. The raw materials and components used to make the vaccine. What advice do you all have for me to transition into the clinical research industry? And if I remember correctly, Melissa, your name looks familiar. Did you go to North Carolina Central University for their program?
I did, Eagle Pride.
Okay.
Yeah, I did. I've been very active on LinkedIn and active in the group. Thank you all for creating this platform for us. So yes, I currently work at a pharmaceutical company, and I have been trying to transition over since 2013. I'm not really quite sure what I want to do now. In 2013, I wanted to be a CRA, but as I'm attending these meetings and doing more research and networking, I don't think that will be a role for me, but I do enjoy quality. So do you all work with any quality professionals as a CTM? And do you have any advice for me to help me transition over?
Yeah, I remember when I was working at another company, the pharmaceutical company had, I think it was ExecuFarm. They had a lot of people who would come and do oversight type visits. I'm not sure if that's within that realm, but other than that, I would say start off with an entry-level position somewhere just to get your foot in the door. Is it not, could you not move up or move around within the company that you're in?
I currently do work for Merck, and Merck does have a clinical research side. And I have been networking with a lot of people. It's just they want me to have experience. And I do not. I do have my clinical research certificate. Even for the entry level positions, I'm not getting the jobs or the interviews. I have shadowed, I have spoken to people. Not really quite sure what I'm doing wrong, but
Okay.
I'm being paid pretty competitive right now. So getting an entry level position starting off at 40 wouldn't work for me as I am being paid well in my current role. But I do have a passion for clinical research, and I do want to advocate for my community and represent for minorities in clinical research.
Okay, so I would say definitely get your resume reviewed with BWICR if you haven't, just to make sure it reflects all of your experience in the various areas. And you may have to branch out and start applying for jobs at other companies. Sometimes when you're at a company, it's hard to move up or move around, but a lot of times other companies are looking for people and they'll give you a chance. So I don't know if you have been looking at other companies, but I would just say keep looking, because I see a lot of people within BWICR, they may be looking for like a year or two, and then finally they find something. So I would just say keep looking, get your resume reviewed, and try to find entry-level positions at any company, any CRO, just to get your foot in the door.
Hey, Melissa.
Hey, Lakita.
I was going to say, since you said you're interested in quality, have you actually looked at a job description or what they're actually looking for in a quality position, and to make sure that you're actually checking, I guess, basically all of those boxes to make sure you meet all those qualifications? I'm not sure if you've done that already, since that's what you're interested in.
Yes, I have. I actually have hired people to redo my resume. And I do the checklist. But I'll definitely send you my resume. And if you have time to look over it.
Yeah, I'm willing to look over it for you, but I'm not sure that I'm the best qualified person to look over it, but I'm willing to help any way that I can. I know you mentioned earlier that you didn't want to basically take a pay cut, but I know in order to get into the industry, sometimes exactly where you want to be, we all had to start off at a certain level, but to know that's not where you're going to always be. It's not where you want to live. It's just where you want to land till you get to the next spot. So sometimes it's just temporary, to where you get where you want to be. So that may not be the answer that you're looking for, but it could be an option, just to know that it's not permanent.
Yeah, no, I want to add to that for Lakita. I know a couple of people who came from corporate, started off at entry-level CRA positions, started getting paid, I guess, like 50,000 when they started. But within a year's time, they were like at 70. And then within another 6 months time, they may have been at like 100,000. So yeah, like Lakita said, you may start off small in the entry-level position, but depending on what role you have, your salary can increase pretty rapidly.
Yeah, just think about your goals and where you want to go. It's not going to be like that forever. It's not permanent. Just to get your feet wet, get the experience that you need, get the knowledge that you need, and then you can take off from there.
I have a couple of questions. So have you talked to your manager about your desire to switch roles? Are they aware, or do you feel comfortable talking to your manager about that?
Yes, I have spoken to my manager about it. She's very supportive. She does not know a lot of people in the clinical research side of Merck, but I use LinkedIn. I have used you, Danielle, and you have referred me to some people at Merck, and I reached out to them, and they're almost saying the same thing, the same advice that you all are giving me. So I'm just gonna, since I am passionate about it, I'm just gonna keep continuing to network, and hopefully I'm just waiting for that one person to give me a chance.
Yeah, and I agree, Melissa. It's going to happen. I remember back in 2012 when I was trying to get into clinical research, I applied so many times, and I think I shared this with you previously. I think, like you said, you're not going to give up. You're going to keep trying. And I think sometimes I'm very religious. And so sometimes our plan isn't always his plan. And so it just may not be the right time. There's someone else on this call that's mentored me as well. And so just because you receive several no's, it doesn't mean that the final answer is no. So yes, keep continuing to apply. We encourage you to keep going. And if it's anything else that we can do for you to help, I'm here. So you have my personal phone number. So
Okay. Thank you. I appreciate your advice. Thank you so much.
Just, reach out to me also, Melissa. I have someone. I'm sorry.
Lakita's in here preaching.
Yes, she don't say a
I'm
word.
sorry. I really didn't mean to take it that way, but I think that's been my testimony before. I saw all of my friends getting clinical research. I'm like, what is wrong with me? Why I can't get in? And, it just wasn't the time for me.
Right.
I couldn't see it, but it just wasn't the time for me, or where I was applying wasn't the place I was supposed to be. So,
yeah. Melissa, someone named Shantae Anthony said she works closely with Dr. Locklear and she's trying to place students. So reach out to her. She's in the chat if you need it.
Shantae is the lady. Let me tell you, she is the one. Hey, Shantae.
Good. We have a few other questions. Let's try to get through those because we're already past 9 o'clock. So someone asked, what is the difference between CTM and project manager? Are they not the same?
No, they're not the same. A CTM is maybe under a project manager. A project manager is over the CTM, and whereas the CTM would oversee the CRAs and reports and different things, the project manager would oversee the different functional areas of a study, maybe like data management, biostatistics, clinical. They would oversee all the various areas of a specific study. A CTM is more just the clinical side of it.
Okay, and as a CTM, are you responsible for reviewing the visit reports from the CRAs?
It depends. Some of the larger studies, we have central reviewers that are in other countries. Some of the smaller studies, the CTM may have to review the reports.
Okay.
And I agree with what Kumar said. That's correct.
Okay. Did we cover all the questions, Danielle? I just did 2 and 1 just now, so.
Most of them, but we are out of time. So, and I know we started a little late. So if you have questions or if your question did not get answered, please feel free to reach out to Kimora, Lakita, Andrea, or myself. And I can also save the chat as well. But yes, it is very important to, and we're here to answer your questions. We want to support you. That's why, Black Women in Clinical Research was created, so that you have these resources, so that you feel comfortable asking these questions. And so I just want to thank everyone again. I always feel every time that we have these meetings, I always feel like I have useful information that can help me as well. So I hope that it has been helpful to you. But it just seems, especially in this industry, that being organized and being able to delegate is very important in all of the clinical research roles, but very important in the CTM role, and being able to, it seems like this also being wearing many hats. It seems like every time that we talk to a lot of people that's involved in clinical research, there's always a lot of hats that everyone is wearing, and being able to communicate with your team. And, you can't do it alone. It's a team effort when it comes to, the clinical trials, and everyone plays a part. Everyone has a piece to the puzzle to make sure that the trial is being conducted, and all the data and everything all the information is needed, and everyone is playing their role. So, please reach out to us. We want to help you. So never feel any type of way if you're reaching out to us, and we're going to respond, because that's what we do, right? We help each other. And so let's see, is there anything else? I think someone's trying to join. We need to tell them, hey girl, it's over. But that's thank you so much. Andrea, do you have anything that you would like to say?
For those who are getting discouraged, I see some people in the chat saying they've been trying to get their foot in the door. We can assist you if you assist yourself. And that means we need to know what it is that you are interested in, right? Because some people just come to us and say, hey, help me get in, but we don't even know what you want to do. Like, help us help you. Are you interested in data management? Do you like writing? Do you want to be a medical writer? Do you like drug safety? So we can try to get you on the pharmacovigilance side. Like, what is your goals in this industry? You really have to do some research for yourself so that we can help you. Also, as Danielle mentioned, we do have resume review services. So some of the times it's not that we aren't good and we don't have the skills. We just don't know how to really sell those transferable skills, those hard skills and soft skills. And we don't use buzzwords in our resumes that may be necessary for you to, or for these systems to pick up your resume. Also, if you're getting the interview, right, but you're not landing the role, perhaps you need some interview prep, right? And we also offer that service as well. The link is already in the chat. But aside from that, feel free to reach out on LinkedIn, on Facebook. We're in a group. Feel free to post in the group, utilize the group, search the group, right? And if you want to post anonymously, because maybe your boss is in the group, who knows, you can do that as well. So we're here to help. Keep that in mind. You will get in eventually. It may not be today, right? But there's a place for you.
Absolutely. I completely agree. And Andrea never says this, but she's the interview prep queen. So when she's talking about interview prep, she's talking about herself. So yeah, sign up for her interview prep. She has helped so many different people. I don't even know one person that hasn't had an interview prep with Andrea and didn't receive the job. So if you are on the fence, are you struggling? This is your sign right here to make sure you sign up for these services, because you can't do it alone. This industry and what I've learned, there is strength in numbers. So anytime that you can build up your circle, and it helps propel you to your next level. So don't think that you have to, try and figure out how to master your interview prep. If there's someone willing to help you, take advantage of that. If there's people in the industry that want to help you, that tell you, hey, send me a message, step outside of your comfort zone and send that message. Shoot your professional shot, as we like to say it. So take a chance, step out on faith, and know that you are going to get in. It's just a matter of time. Lakita, Kimura, would you guys have any final words? I feel like Maury has his, Jerry Springer. Is it Jerry Springer that has his final words? I think I messed it all up, but I think Jerry Springer has his final thoughts. Lakita, Kimura?
I do have one final thing and kind of go back. I know we're trying to wrap up, but I know we're talking about networking, and I just thought about one thing. I think we also want to have, I think they call it an elevator pitch. Even if you're shy, I think it's important to have where you're going to say, you be able to introduce yourself to that person so that they can remember you. What they call it, the elevator pitch, 2 or 3 minutes, whatever it is, just have that in there. And just to wrap up, I'm here if needed. Feel free to reach out to me on LinkedIn.
Yeah, no final words, but feel free to reach out to me on LinkedIn.
And I want to thank Black Women in Clinical Research Group for this experience to speak on this platform. I really appreciate it.
My pleasure. Thank you. There's so many different positions in clinical research. I don't even know all of them. So, you guys explaining what you do on your day-to-day responsibility helps me learn about the different positions. So I hope you guys have taken notes, and that, we didn't drop, well, if you want to, you can drop your LinkedIn if people want to connect with you by LinkedIn. But yes, feel free to connect with everyone and network. And I'll leave the chat up so that everyone can get the LinkedIn information. But I just want to thank everyone. Thank you again, Kimura, Lakita, Andrea. You guys have a great night.
Thank you.
Thank you. You too.